All right, all right, all right. Well, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Coffee Q&A. Your daily dose Coffee Q&A. This is episode number 469. How's it going? We're going to be talking today about the OXO Rapid Brew. I was going to say OXO Cold Brew. But this is something that I've been thinking about doing. I've been wanting to do and excited to do ever since we started using this and playing around with it. Because I just wondered what it would be like, right? So what we're going to be doing today is using just this Espresso OXO to see if it'll make something like espresso. Keone, hello to you. How are you doing today? So what do we mean by that? Now, one of the things about the OXO Rapid Brew is that it is limited by design. Evidently, the designers of this designed it so that when you're using the pump, it only generates no more than 1 bar of atmospheric pressure. Now, if we're making espresso on an espresso machine, that machine is designed to give you 8.5 bars of pressure to force the water through the very finely ground coffee and make espresso. Now, you could do it different ways. It doesn't necessarily need 8.5 bars. I've actually had times when we were playing around with our machines where I would bypass the pump, like on the La Marzocco Linea, I would turn off the pump, make sure that it wouldn't turn on when we hit the brew switch. So you hit the brew switch, the valve opens, and then we would use the line pressure of about 3 to 4 bars to push the coffee through. And that's enough to push through. Now, is 1 bar enough? I'm not sure, but I thought we'd find out because I think it's kind of interesting. Kent, how are you? Good morning. Mom, hello. Poodle Brews is with us. What's going on? It's your super. It is a super machine. And then Power Plant's with us. What's going on? Good morning to you. So we're going to be doing this, and I guess we should get into it right away. Now, one of the things that as we were playing around with it many episodes ago, I found that this basket, this is like the VST basket, that's 21 millimeter, standard 58 millimeter, 21 gram, 58 millimeter. Brew basket will fit in this device, which is kind of cool. Let me just wipe it off because it's a little bit dirty. Now, this is the one that fits into my La Marzocco portafilter. So you just pull it out. And the nice thing is that this will fit in the brew chamber. So we'll take that off. Here's that superfluous tamper. And it fits. And I was like, man, and it will screw together. Right? So there is a gap, but I'm presuming that the gasket that's in here, is there a gasket? Yeah, there's a slight gasket. It doesn't quite fit in as well, right? There's the rib here, the edge here is a little bit chamfered, right? So I think it fits in this. You can see kind of the gasket in there. It fits in there really tightly. So when you put the basket in, like now, it kind of sits there a little bit loose. And it will screw in, but I can only see it through this smoked. It does snug up, and we can snug it really well. So I'm hoping that that's enough to create a seal and we won't have a lot of leakage, but who knows? We may have a lot of leakage. We're going to find out. That's what we're going to do. We're going to find out. And let me start boiling some water here. So how's everyone doing this morning? Everything's doing well in the world, I hope. We've got our OXO. And the OXO, I was just thinking yesterday, I should make an actual video for the channel about the OXO. Now that we've done so many of the different brew methods, and give my unadulterated thoughts on the OXO Rapid Brewer. But I think we still have a couple more. There's still there's a cold brew recipe I want to try because OXO has a cold brew recipe for it. So I think there's a couple more recipes we need to try to give us a widespread of impressions of the brewer. And then I can think about, do I like it? Do I not like it? Do I think you should buy it? All right, so let's get to work here. We're going to use our Misty Valley because we've been using the Misty Valley this whole time, so I figured we might as well keep it up. We did change coffee yesterday, which was a nice little pace of change, or change of pace. Now this time, we normally use 21 grams of coffee, but this time I'm going to put this in the, what we've been using, okay, while we have been using the Fellow Ode Gen 2, for this case, for doing real espresso, I don't think that will suffice. So we're going to bust out the very larger, the much, much larger Mazda Major Auto. I don't know, you can barely see this here, but here's the Mazda Major Auto. Sorry, I don't have the overhead camera set up. I took the stand that I had it on and used it for something else. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our Mazda Major Auto, and this is set to an espresso grind that I was using for, let me just clear it out here, that we're using for the La Valentina. And if you're not too familiar with this grinder, this is a commercial grinder, kind of the industry standard for many, many years. And it worked at Spro for many, many years. Well, it worked, I think it worked for Starbucks or worked somewhere else for many, many years. Then I got it, it worked for Spro for many, many years. And now it is here, working not so hard here at the house. Old school, clackety-clack kind of a grinder. Some of you may think that is old and busted, or at least antiquated, and that's all right. We'll just clear out. So you can see this is the grinds, right? So here are the grinds. You can see the grinds there. So fairly fine, very fine, very consistent. That's what I really like about this. Powerplant says, recently I was able to watch the final episode of Alien Earth. Oh, is it already over? It was very good and introduced an intriguing next season. I'll be very curious to see where they... Ooh, I have not seen... Wait, are there 10 episodes already? I just downloaded... I don't know what episode number, but I guess it must be one of the later episodes because I just downloaded yesterday. And... All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to purge a little bit of the grinder because there's always some kind of retention, right? So we're going to put some coffee in here and just grind through it. Maybe just a little handful of coffee. This is the one thing about being like a professional, right? When you're working in a professional environment, you don't necessarily think in the same way about coffee usage as you would as an enthusiast, right? Like when you're buying coffee by the pound, you're like, oh, coffee's precious. There's only 453 grams in a pound. And if you're using 21 grams per serving, you only have, 20 servings, right? So it's like, oh, you have to be careful. But when you're dealing with 5-pound bags and multiple bags stacked up ready for you to use at any moment in time, you tend to be a little bit more cavalier about how you consume it. So I'm just going to take a handful. I'm not even thinking. Just a handful, I toss it in there, I grind through, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm not saying that's better or worse, it's probably worse, but it's just a different way of approaching it. Because in many respects, when you're working in a professional environment, you're also in a mission critical kind of situation, right? Like getting the grinder and the grind set correctly is of critical importance so that you can make drinks for hopefully hundreds and hundreds of guests that are coming in that day. So while you want to be frugal in your approach to grinding and pulling test shots, you also have a little bit more luxury of quantity. Right? So I'm just going to grind through this. Right, so what I mean by that is that I'm grinding this coffee, and I'm going to toss it, I'm not even thinking about it. Right? So it's just a different, not necessarily better mentality. Right? It's not. There's quite a number of times being here at home when I've run out of coffee because I only brought a bag of coffee, and then I was like, oh, now I'm posed. Okay, so we've got, I should look at that. Anyway, I put 24 grams of coffee in here, almost 25 grams, and we're going to grind all of it and then use that to fill this with the specified amount of coffee. And here we go. Okay, we have our coffee, and it is now ground. So very nice, consistent grind. There's a little bit of my fur from the brush. But so that's what I like about these commercial ones, these mods. Are very nice grind quality. And now we're going to take our basket, and we're going to feed in the amount of coffee that we need. Try that out. We're going to use 21 grams of coffee. Good morning to you, so. Ooh, 21.2. That's all right. Now we've got it a little bit uneven. You can see that it's a little bit. You can see the unevenness, right? Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to take that, we're just going to distribute it, moving it around, trying to get an even bed of coffee to give us even resistance against the tyranny and oppression of the water, right? So there that is. More or less, that's good enough. We're going to take our temper. This time I'm going to use one of the old shop tempers. This is the Reg Barber Bubinga with Delrin insert and stainless steel piston in the, what's it called? I just had the name. The moment that I picked this up, I knew exactly the name of this style of temper. Something C, and I was like, okay, I'm thinking in my mind as I'm talking to you, that's the name, and I'm going to say it. And then when it came to the moment of actually saying it, it gone. Plus C, something C. Anyway, but the reason that they have this C is that they've got these it's grooved, so concentric circles grooved, and then it's also slightly, you can barely see it, but it's slightly chamfered on the edge. Anyway. I'm going to put that in here, make sure that it's nice and level. And then we're going to give it a temp. You're going to give it a nice temp. We're going to give it a nice temp. A slight twist to give it a nice polish. And then now, oh, not bad. Not bad. Ken says, I got 2 bags of coffee for free today because Fuglin Coffee Roaster sent me the wrong order. Excellent, excellent. Congratulations. That's always good. It's always good news. Maybe not so good for Fuglin, but for you, definitely. And Parpan says, I would still say that Task with its 3 episodes has impressed me the most of the TV series of the last half of 2025. When you see actors firing on all cylinders and crap, I'm going to have to remember to download that today. But I downloaded a bunch of stuff, and I was like going to watch. I did watch all the episodes of Only Murders in the Building last night. But that already is 2 hours. So man, I need to catch up with Alien Earth, and now I'll get the Task. And Parpan says that Fuglin is a solid standby. There are several shops in Japan, and I usually end up at the Fukuoka branch. Oh, nice. I must confess their interiors are usually nicer than the coffee itself. I think that's true of a lot of places. I've seen, and Ken says, I've seen the fancy interior design they have at their shops in Asia used to be just an ordinary cafe in Oslo. Ah, okay. Cafe, coffee shop. Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, so we've got our tamped coffee, and we're going to put that here. Now, one of the things that I am a little bit concerned about is we've got the basket screen, which I'm going to turn over, and I'm going to risk everything. Ooh, didn't. So we've got our basket screen, which is stainless and perforated, and a little bit dirty. And I'm not going to worry about that. Then we have this, which is the typical one that has a perforated bottom as well, and that's dirty too. Well. But there is a bit of a gap. So I'm wondering how long it will take to push through, and then what for it to flow through here, and then what will that do? So let's presume, if we presume that there's going to be crema generated by this, which there may not, at 1 bar, there may not be enough pressure to do that, but let's just presume there is. Will this filter that out? I guess we'll just take it apart after and see. So let's put all this together. I'm going to put this together like that. And then now we're going to add this. Okay, so that's as tight as it goes. Now, if you wanted to, So here's interesting. Here's the lines. The lines are right here. I actually torqued it past that. So I don't know what that means. But it's a little bit farther. So now we're going to take this. This is the carafe. Put that on top. What we're going to do is we're going to add how many milliliters? 30 milliliters an ounce, right? See, this is now where I come to conversions. Now I'm falling down. All right, we're going to go and we're going to change to ounces because we're going to do 1.5 ounces. The water is at high boil, and now we're going to add it. Oh, it's so high boil that my handle on this thing is burning me. So 1.5 ounces, more or less. You know what? We're going to give it 2 ounces. So there it is. That's 2 ounces, and I'm going to add this. Oh, it's already flowing through. Wow. I didn't think they would flow through. And now we're going to, oh, see, it is coming out on the side. I think it's already gone through. I think I just don't know why I'm pumping more. So the seal is not, you can see here that's kind of like there's a little bit of wetness here. Can you see? Yeah, right there. See how that all came out of it? There's a little bit on here. So it's not, as we can see, that it's not quite a perfect seal. I'll leave that running. All the water is out. And so there's no real, I mean, there's a little bit of like crema-ish kind of stuff. Let's see what's going on in here. Oh, you can see that there's definitely concentration. Oh, I'm gonna put this here. You can see there's concentration of the water flow. That's interesting. Look at that. And then do we have any kind of crema-ish residue? There's a little bit of crema-ish residue here. I don't know if that, like right there, a little bit, and then down here in the basket. No, not really any crema-ish residue. But here's our elixir. So about an espresso shot, because this is a pretty huge vessel. You know, it looks fairly thick. I mean, is it? And this is an espresso grind. Or should be. We'd probably have to grind it tighter, you know, if we were actually making espresso and do a couple test shots, but it's a concentrated brew. I mean, what's there to say about it? It doesn't have It's a concentrated brew. And maybe as a concentrated brew for espresso would be fine. But I like the crema part of espresso, right? I think that's a big part of it. Of the tactile experience. Okay, so that's... Okay. Is that great? I don't know. Should you try it? Well, I don't know either. But actually looking at it now, looking at this puck, right? I feel as though maybe this is too coarse. Look at like I'm just not used to seeing it look like this. Maybe because it's about less than a bar of pressure, that it's not pressuring down on it and really compacting it. Like if I took, let's say I took a straight tamper and I now tamp it down, would we get better result? Now, I just squeezed a whole bunch of coffee out of there. But I'm just curious to know like how it would look with more pressure on it. Yeah, I think that maybe, this is what happens when you take totally different coffees and you put it into a grinder and don't change the setting. I think that it's still, at least for this coffee, it's coarser. It's coarser. It results at the same grind setting as our espresso blend, results in coarser coffee with this particular one, with the Misty Valley. Because, look at that. That does not look fine enough. So I think that's a critical error on my part here. It holds together. It's holding together fairly decently, but not as tight as we'd want. And I think maybe that's also because we just don't have the pressure, the brew pressure that we would normally have with an espresso. So yeah. So as an espresso, how is this taste? Initially, a lot of bitterness, but also very concentrated. Right now, there's a lot more of the citrus aspect coming out that's like really tight. If I use this to make an espresso, would I find this espresso to be satisfying in the way that I find espresso satisfying from a machine? Now, concentration-wise of flavors, yes, it's pretty much espresso, right? Satisfaction-wise, it's kind of disappointing. It just doesn't have that je ne sais quoi of like espresso. Maybe it's the oils being pulverized into crema that gives it that kind of body, that kind of delicious texture to it. It just doesn't have that. It's just kind of like thickly brewed coffee. And that's not terribly exciting. Kiana says, although I haven't seen the final episode of Chief of War, I know there's an epic battle, quite violent. It is based on the real event, the Battle of Mokuohai in CQA in the Kona side of Hawaii. I'm curious, do you watch with the captions, or are you able to watch the entire series without any captions? I have to download captions, so I'm a little bit behind. I've downloaded all the episodes so far. I guess that's the entire series. But I'm a little bit behind in finding the subtitles. Maku, good morning to you. How are you doing? Paige says, Keone, we watched episode 3 last night, but probably won't get to watch anymore until next week due to traveling for a wedding start. Oh, weddings. Where are you headed to, Paige? And let us know how the coffee shops are there. I only saw the first episode. For me, it's kind of hard as I already know the stories in each episode. I will eventually... Oh, okay, gotcha. I too have only seen episode 1. I was trying to watch it without the subtitles. I do need to watch the subtitles because I don't understand enough to do that. All right, so let's see. I think we're going to have to use some bypass for this. So we're going to add a little bit of water to it. Just an equivalent amount. Maybe a little bit more. All right. That should give us a nice little coffee mix. Although theoretically, we could add up to 12 ounces. You make it a 12-ounce drink. good enough. Good enough for today. Good enough for coffee. Q&A says, I don't need captions, although sometimes I figured. Heading to Ritual, New Hampshire. Ooh, rural New Hampshire. Oh, rural. What's good? Oh, you know who you should visit while you go? You know, here's what you should do. If you have the time and if you are so inclined, and if you're in the right area, a friend of mine, industry friend of mine, Troy Lucas Coffee Roasting. Where is Lucas? He's in New Hampshire. Let me find out the place. Lucas Coffee. Well, that's not it. He's in Wolfboro. Wolfboro, which is, there it is. Here is New Hampshire. I don't know where you're going to be in New Hampshire, but here is where it is in the greater state of New Hampshire. I think that's it. I can't really tell. But there, if you have the opportunity to visit Lucas Roasting Company, I would recommend it. I would recommend it. If you go there, Troy is the owner, kind of got a beard. Tell him I sent you. Tell him I said hello. Really great guy. And yeah, he's fighting the good fight, trying to bring quality coffee to New Hampshire, fighting the forces of evil everywhere he goes. So if you have the time, if not, I get it. That looks like a good way for me. We're in Lime. Oh, okay, yeah, no worries. Just if you happen to be nearby. All right, so to go, I think I should put more bypass, but I'm gonna suffer through it. So I brought a little bit of a little snack. This is lately this has become my breakfast time, right? Because I don't really get to eat before I do this, and then I may not eat for a couple more hours. It's really kind of bad. All right, so I have this here little treat today. This is actually mooncake. And mooncake, if you're not too familiar, we're going to do more on mooncake next month because mooncake is a Chinese delicacy that's a baked good that has this pastry exterior, and then it has some kind of filler. And the fillers are very interesting. Now, this one I saw at Costco. Can you imagine? I grew up in this area, and for me to go to Costco today and find all of these things like mooncake at Costco, they even have frozen whole halal lamb, and I was like, where am I living? I wondered to myself, where do I live now? This is not the Baltimore that I grew up in, right? But anyway, this was interesting because I saw it and I was like, well, that looks interesting. And I originally was thinking about buying it for the show, and then my mom saw it and she was like, "Ooh!" Actually, my dad was the one who, I brought it, and my dad was like, "Ooh, what are you doing with that?" I said, "Well, you can eat it." So he's been eating this, so I guess I'll get another one. Now, this is a whole different one that I've never seen before. This actually has, oh gosh, what's the name of it? Jujuba? Is that right? Jujuba. It has lychee, it has matcha, and it has red bean. So it's majority red bean paste, but it has lychee, matcha, and hatoba. Gosh, and I can't remember, but it's a different filling than I've ever seen. So I was like, oh, I got to go give that a try. But these are made for celebrating the Mid-Autumn Festival that happens during this time of year. And at Brew, we would always have mooncakes during the Mid-Autumn Festival. We would offer a mooncake, and these are this is a quarter of a mooncake, right? This is a lot to eat. It's super dense. It's not too sweet. Again, Asian desserts, Asian pastries are not terribly sweet, but it's very dense. So you eat this quarter piece, man, you're kind of full. You're like, I don't really want it. I don't know if you want to eat more, but we would offer this, a whole cake and a pot of tea to celebrate the Mid-Autumn Festival. And so I've always liked them, and I thought we'd give it a try because I've never had this flavor combination. Usually they're a different, usually red bean, and they usually have egg yolks, petrified, preserved egg yolks in them, and different lotus fillings and things like that. But this, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Let us give it a try here. Paige says, Lucas is 73 miles from, well, if you happen to drive up there, maybe you'll be able to drive by it. But no worries. Interesting, it's breakfast for you and nighttime dessert for me. Exactly. Well, I told only only because it is breakfast time. So okay, let's cut into it. Now, like I said, these are always super dense. Like it's super dense. By the way, this little fork is actually a fork that my mom bought probably like in the maybe when she first came to America, like in the late 60s, early 70s. Like I just remember I saw this in the drawer and I was like, wow, that's one of our oldest like forks. Anyway, let's give it a taste. I think I like the lotus seed better. But again, dense. The red bean, oh, that's actual. So there's remember I said there's a citrusy note to the coffee today? Ooh, that's actually really nice. Wow, okay. That works. This time I'm gonna take a little bit thinner slice, right? Thinner slice. Oh, that's very good. Wow. That pairing of these two, this Misty Valley as kind of a pseudo espresso in this OXO with a little bit of bypass, and this mooncake with the lychee matcha red bean and jatoba. Oh gosh, I can't believe I can't remember. Is actually, man, that is tasty, tasty. Oh yeah, I'm digging that. All right, that's good. Power Plant says mooncake has a ton of calories. It's a good thing that I'm only eating a quarter of it because, although I kind of got this situation here at my house where like my sister-in-law brought me a sandwich the other day from a new hot chicken joint. But she came over after I'd already eaten dinner, so I was like, oh, I'll just save it. And then my aunt, I took her to get some food the other night, and she only ate half of her sub, so I've got half a cheesesteak sub. I'm like, now I've got like a lot of food to eat. So what's going on, Hoon? It's actually really, really good. I'm really surprised at how good it is together. Because, I always think of mooncake to eat with tea, like oolong tea, like a nice oolong, or maybe, yeah, I like oolong. Like the Iron Goddess of Mercy is a nice one. But I never really thought about eating with coffee, despite being in the coffee business and serving this for so many years. Just one bite. One of my good friends, he's a chef. He was invited. He asked me if I wanted to go, and I said I couldn't go. But evidently in New York City, Dave Portnoy, the Just One Bite guy, had a big Just One Bite festival last weekend, the weekend before last, where he had a lot of his highest ranked pizza joints come to New York and set up, and then kind of a festival. You would go to each of these pizza joints that they had a setup for, and you could try their different pizzas. And my friend was like, man, I went to the New Haven stuff, like the Frank Pepe's and all that. And I said, I didn't think it was that great. I said, you know what, man, I hear you, but I think that you have to go to the place. Like, I don't know if they do a mobile operation and they bring it to you. Are they going to be able to replicate it? Like like here in Baltimore, when Dave Portnoy came early this year, or at the end of last year, he came. And he ranked one of the places that I go to quite a bit, Frank's, as like a 9+ or whatever it was. And so it was madness. But Frank's, when you go to Frank's, like the pizza, they use deck ovens, like Blodgett deck ovens, and they're slinging it. But one of my good friends also will hire Frank's to come to his company parties and do pizza. But when Frank's comes to this on-site events, they have a truck where they've set up a pizza oven, but on that truck, it's a Neapolitan style pizza. So like Naples style. So the big domed oven, and they're slinging the pies in like 90 seconds. So it's a different pie. Like probably the same crust, but the whole pie is different. And I've had their leftovers, and it's good, but it's not what you get at the store. So I wonder like how much how true a representation the pizza places were at this festival, because my friend was a little bit disappointed. I was like, I think you need to go to New Haven and just do a tour. Like if you're going to New Haven, like Paige, if you're driving, like I think it's worth it to go swing through up 95. Depending on the time, there's like the classic one, of course, is Frank Pepe's, and you go there and you get like the white clam pizza. That's what you get there. Sally's, which is kind of next door, you can get like cheese or whatever, pepperoni. There's also Modern. I like getting at Modern the bacon pizza. I don't know why, I just wanted the bacon. Like one year I just got bacon. And then there's a new place, or not a new place, but a new place to me called Zupardi's, which is in West Haven, and that's kind of like, I think that makes up the holy four of them all. So I don't know if you're driving or not, but Power Plant says I like daifuku or chapsaldok in Korea, but they also have a ton of calories. But sometimes when you're eating something, we're not eating this every day. It's just once a year, right? Mid-harvest. Yeah, actually, I never eat this the rest of the year. So it's okay. It's okay. Peppermint says, not the highest rank, but the ones that align with his values the best. Are we talking about Dave Portnoy? Some refuse because he has been accused of sexual misconduct. Oh, Portnoy's been accused of sexual... Oh, I didn't know that. We'll be heading to PA first and then to New Hampshire. And I don't think we're... Oh, okay. No worries. What if you're a geeky guy like me, and this is actually far out of the way, but if you're a geeky guy like me, there's in Ticonderoga, New York, there is the Star Trek original series tour where they've built a museum and they've built a replica of the original Star Trek bridge. And I am so curious to go. Like I was planning on going in the spring, but they're only open outside of summer. They're only open on weekends, so you kind of have to plan. So that won't work for you. But in case you happen to be there or want to make that swing all the way out there, Power Plant says, for me, every time I eat, I have to think about understood. Ken says, I've had pizza in Italy, and it was really different than what I had in the U.S., but I don't have extensive. Well, it's just about eating more pizza. That's really it. I actually, thinking about it, I've had very little pizza in Italy, but of course, I've not been to Naples, where supposedly the best pizza is. I've had pizza in Modena, in Maranello, because we just happened to go. Like one of my friends, she wanted to go to eat pizza, and I was like, really? There's so much better food here. But I would like to try that. But I've done a lot of pizza eating in, I guess, in America. But not too much. Like, I know a lot of people say that New York pizza is the best. I think it's good, but I do think that New Haven's better. But not everyone agrees. Like my mom, it's funny because like last year we were going up to Boston to see my aunt. So I was driving, and I've been telling about this pizza. So we went to Frank Pepe's, and so my mom, my dad, and me were sitting at this Frank Pepe's place, and I ordered the pizza, the white clam, and it's coal-fired pizza in this huge oven that's been there for like 100 years, and they're slinging the pies, and they coal's a little bit dirty. And it's also very hot, like it's 900 degrees, so it cooks in like 60 seconds or 90 seconds. But what happens with that is that it chars part of the crust. And so my mom is eating this, and she's like, it's a little bit burned. And I was like, yeah, that's the style. It's like they make it 900 degrees, so it cooks fast. It cooks this way. She was funny. She was totally earnest in the way she said. She's like, well, maybe you should tell them to turn the temperature down. was like, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Power Plant says, I've been to Naples, Rome, Sicily, and it was all fine. The thin rectangle cut pizza in Rome is very good. Oh, that sounds good. Italian pizza can suck. Neapolitan is wet. Okay, okay. Paige says some of the best pizza I've had was in Rhode Island. Oh, Rhode Island pizza. The only time I've had mostly Italian food, but like sit-down Italian in Rhode Island, and I've also had quite a bit of seafood in Rhode Island, like down by the shore. Pepe's is a chain place now, sold out. That's true. They opened up. There was a location I went to in Hartford. That actually was pretty good. And there's one in Virginia that wasn't too bad. Actually, they're all pretty good. I still think that the one in New Haven is the best, the original. I don't know, I don't know if that's because the oven is more seasoned or whatever. The experience is better. But I'm out of coffee. Very disappointing. New Jersey has great pizza too, like X. Oh, that's true. I went to last summer, I think it was. I was in New Jersey, and I looked up Dave Portnoy's recommendations, and there was this one place that I went to that like opened again at 4:00, and man, it was really good. And it was kind of like it was an outline here. DeLucia's Brick Oven Pizza. This place is here in New Jersey. I went there last year, and evidently you had to go there at 4:00. They close for lunch or close in the middle of the day, and then 4:00 to reopen. I happened to be there right at 4, and so I got in line, and man, at least at the time that I went, the line was very short. Like there was almost nobody there, luckily. And I got in, but 10 minutes after I got in, the dining room was packed. Like it's super busy. But man, that pizza was very good. That was really great pizza. Really great pizza. The New Jersey tomato pie can ride with big boys. I think so. I think so. I mean, I think there's a lot of great pizza. Like I think it's like coffee. Coffee can be great. You just have to have people that are willing to take the time to make it great, right? Like there's whether it's pizza or coffee or any pursuit, there's always a good way to do it, a really great way to do it. But it's never the easiest path. So it's always like more difficult. So it takes a certain kind of psychotic to actually go for it. And I think that's the key. That's the key. All right. By the way, this shirt comes today from ASEAN, the Association de Cafetaleros en Nicaragua. And they are the group of Nicaraguans, the coffee group of Nicaragua. I got this a long time ago. Maybe I got this in like 2008. And, they gave it to me. And the thing about Central America, everybody's kind of small in Central America. So the sizes are very small. So I have never worn this shirt until today. It's still a little bit. It's still like I feel all like muscle man wearing this shirt because it's a little bit tight. But it's not like before, was it? Can't get into it. Malcolm says, I'm a big fan of Detroit style pizza. If you enjoy that style, then I recommend trying Henry Squared. It's a chain, but very good. All right, I will look for that next time I see it. I've had some Detroit pizza. I don't know if that thick pizza, what is it? It's cheese on the bottom and sauce on top. I don't know if I'm really into it, but I think it's always one of those things where like you could have just had not very good examples of that style, right? Like I could tell you that coffee is great, but if you go somewhere and the guy serves you Folgers, you're like, what's the deal with this? So to sign off on coffee completely would be foolish. But, so yeah, I'm open to trying more Detroit pizza. I'm open to trying just about anything, really. Kelly says, I'm thinking of getting a pizza oven, not just for pizza, but for the high heat. But the height would be good for searing steaks and cooking. So here's the thing. I have the Uni 12 called? I bought it used off Facebook Marketplace, like $150. I saved a bit of money on it, and I used it a lot last summer. I haven't used it at all this year, only just because I've been ill and I haven't, I was ill for most of the summer, and it's cool. Like I've had great results on it. Right? There's that whole science of trying to figure out what kind of crust you want to make and all this dough, but forget all that. If you get the uni, and I have not the gas version, I have the regular charcoal version. So you put charcoal in it and you heat it up, and that kind of generates a lot of the heat. But in order to get really great results, then you put in your wood chunks so you get fire, and the fire kind of rolls over it's a small dome, so it kind of rolls over the dome. In order to get those good results, you kind of have to make the fire. And when you're putting in wood chunks that are small, it doesn't last a long time. So you kind of always have to feed it. That's the one thing about these pizza ovens that you'll just have to get used to, but constantly trying to feed it, especially if you're trying to do multiple cooks. And in your case, if you're trying to cook steaks that are going to take, 5-10 minutes or longer to cook through, you're going to have to feed it. And that's the only thing. And then you kind of have to modulate. Do you want to try to cook it at that high temperature? You can. A lot of places like Ruth's Chris are searing their steaks at 900 degrees, or maybe even higher on their salamanders or their broilers. Actually, they have like roll-in broilers. But that's just one thing you'll have to manage. Emmy Squared is in New York City, but the real ones in Detroit use their local cheese, which is unique. Oh, they don't ship the local cheese to New York? That seems to be like, that seems to miss the boat on that, right? Paige says, Emmy Square has turned into a small national chain. They're in a lot of places. Oh, all right, maybe they have one here and we can get their whatever local cheese they have here. Detroit-style pizza is regular pizza, but thick and squared. Not deep dish, but the bread is thick and airy, as kind of like focaccia bread. Oh, all right, I'm going to try that. I grew up here in Baltimore and in an area, I grew up in an area called Pikesville, which is kind of the big Jewish area. But in this area, we had a place called Mike's Pizzeria. It's been long gone now. But Mike's was the big thing. My father loved Mike's, and he would always like, let's go get pizza. And they would do what they call Sicilian-style pizza. So that kind of really thick, I guess maybe focaccia-style crust, that pizza, but it's in square. So I grew up eating that a lot. Paige says, by the way, the Providence pizza I had was Fellini Pizzeria, and it was good. I will find that and mark it in my thing here, Fellini. Oops. Fellini Pizza. Oh, there's two. Okay, I'm going to put that in here. Want to go. Page recommended. Okay, there it is. That's what I do mostly. For anything that I'm interested in, I put like a little pin in my Google Maps. So when I go to that area, I'll have a reference of where to go and eat or places to visit, things like that. I would like to go back up there sometime soon because I want to visit not just in Providence, but if you're in Providence again, New Harvest Coffee Roasters is very good. A friend of mine owns that. But yeah, there's always places to go visit, right? There's always places to go visit. Also say PV Donuts. PV Donuts. Okay, PV Donuts. I'll do that too again. PV Donuts on Wickenden Street. And Paige recommended again. Perfect. Got it. PV Donuts. See, saved. All right, excellent. That's great news. All right, so I guess that's going to be it for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. Good to see all of you. Always nice to hang out with you. Always good to see you. I am very honored that you take the time to spend this time with me every day or most days. But we're back again tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. Is that right? I have to go down to. I have to go to DC. See, I have to go to DC tomorrow, and then Pennsylvania on Friday. So Friday we will not have a live stream. Tomorrow we will have a live stream. Yeah, we will do something tomorrow. Is that right? Yeah. I have plenty of time for that. Okay, so have a wonderful day out there, or night, or sleeping, or whatever you're doing in the world. Back again tomorrow with another episode of the Coffee Q&A. Power Plant says that Providence has the original grilled pizza. I gotta go check that out too. Aloha to Yukioni, Maku, Power Plant, Paige, Kent. Have a great one, and see you next time. And you too, Mom.